Today I'm making Cajun catfish nuggets, and here are the catfish fillets. I've got 4 fillets here. This is 2 total fish. Got 4 fillets and 2 pieces of belly meat. And I harvested these fish myself. If you're interested in checking that out and exactly how that was done, I'll leave a link in the description. You can see me catch these fish. And to turn these fillets into nuggets, I'm just going to use these kitchen shears. I prefer to use a kitchen shears over a knife for a couple of reasons. One, it's safer. And 2, I don't have to get a cutting board dirty. And I'm just going to cut this meat into kind of strips. It's going to be the same width as the fillet and probably about 1.5 to 2 inches wide strips. You can make them whatever size you want, a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller than this. I just find this is a nice size. They cook pretty quickly and they're pretty easy to eat in this size. And after I get the fillets all chunked up into nuggets, I'm going to stick a paper towel underneath the fish meat there on the bottom and just let that sit in there and absorb any excess moisture that's on the meat. And we'll set that catfish aside and get started on the potatoes. These are Yukon Gold potatoes. They're my favorite potatoes for almost every instance. They have a thin skin, so I almost never peel them. I just remove any of the rough spots or big eyes that might be on there. But I almost always just leave the skin on. They're pretty good that way. And if anybody would like to go ahead and express your extreme outrage about me using a paper plate for a cutting board, feel free to do that in the comments. If you do so, just be sure to leave your Internet Cooking Police badge number along with your comment, please. Thanks. But really though, if you can learn how to cut without slamming your knife down on the countertop, cutting a potato doesn't really require a cutting board. And I'm actually going to use this paper plate for something else a little bit later, you'll see. So you can use oil, but I prefer real butter for this. Probably about 3 tablespoons of butter there in that pan. I'm just going to get that melted. And to the pan, then add the chopped potatoes, and I'm going to put some onion in with it this time too. Obviously you can have whatever sides you like with your catfish, but I almost always prefer to have some kind of potatoes with my catfish. My wife likes that too. I don't know, we need potatoes with the catfish. Now it's time to make the breading for the catfish, and the main ingredient in the breading is cornmeal. This is not corn flour, it's cornmeal. It has a bigger grain than flour, and I never measure anything when I do this. I just kind of eyeball it. I think that's approximately a cup of cornmeal that I dumped into that Ziploc bag there. And I'm going to do just about maybe 1/4 to 1/2 cup of regular white flour to mix in with that. And that'll just be a smaller grains that'll just hit all those spots on the fish that the larger cornmeal grains don't get. And the next ingredient is the Cajun seasoning. I like this brand, but there's all sorts of brands of Cajun seasoning, and obviously you can mix up your own too. But I'm just going to dump a liberal amount in there. I never measure, like I said. I don't know, probably 3 or 4 tablespoons is what I'm putting in here. And I'm just going to seal up that bag and give those dry ingredients a quick mix up. And I'm just going to go ahead and put all of those fish nuggets right there into that Ziploc bag with the breading. No need to do it a little bit at a time or in batches or anything like that. And I make sure I don't put that paper towel in there. And I'm just going to seal it up and give it a toss here for a minute or two. Get all the pieces coated and lay it on the counter and maybe press on it a little bit. Sometimes helps to get things to stick a little better if need be. And what I'm left with is each fish piece has a nice thin coating of that cornmeal on there, and that's going to give us a nice crispy texture on the outside. And I've got some canola oil heated up here. Sometimes I measure the temp, sometimes I don't. 350 is where you want it, but most of the times I just guess. As long as the oil is shimmering and I can feel the heat coming off of it with my hand, it seems pretty good to me. And in goes the fish. And these are going to be done in batches. My pan will only hold about 8 to 10 pieces at a time. And as soon as I get that first batch of fish in there, I'm going to crank that burner up to high because these fish nuggets are cold. And as soon as I drop them in that oil temp drops rapidly. So I'm going to leave that burner on high for a couple minutes until that oil gets back up to a good temp. And then once those nuggets are at a good sizzling temp, I'll go ahead and turn that burner back down a little bit. But generally it's going to be about 5 minutes per side on little nuggets like this. That's about what it takes. It varies depending on the size of the pieces and how hot your oil is, but approximately 5 minutes per side. That looks pretty good for my taste, nice and golden brown. I'm going to go ahead and give them a flip. 5 more minutes on the second side. While that's happening, I'm going to check on the potatoes and onions. Those are looking nice. Usually I like to get them mostly cooked first before I add any seasoning. And today I'm just going to put some all-purpose seasoned salt on there. That'll be really good. And these are cooking kind of slow on a medium heat because I'm probably going to have about 3 batches of catfish here I need to cook. So I'm just cooking the potatoes nice and slow right alongside the catfish. And after the second side has had a chance to cook for 5 minutes, sometimes I'll flip them back over one more time, give that first side another minute or two if I feel like I want some more browning. Cook them to your liking, as light or as dark brown as you like. And when they're cooked to my satisfaction, I'm going to pull them out of that pan and put them on a paper towel lined sheet there. And that sheet pan's going to go in a 200-degree oven. They're just going to stay in there and keep warm while I cook the other batches of the catfish. And it's just rinse and repeat here until all the catfish nuggets are gone. In this instance here, I did end up doing 3 batches. And here we go. Here's the crispy Cajun catfish nuggets alongside the fried potatoes and onions. As you can see, that cornmeal resulted in a nice brown, crispy, thin coating there on those catfish nuggets. Time to serve it up. Here's a good heap of those potatoes and onions. We're having some peas as a green vegetable with this. And here's the star of the show, those catfish nuggets. And this recipe for catfish nuggets leaves a lot of options open. You can totally change out the Cajun seasoning for something else that you might like better. You know, you can do a lemon pepper or Italian seasoning or whatever seasoning that you think would be good on catfish. But I hope you found that useful. Don't forget, if you wanted to see how these catfish were caught, go down to the description and there'll be a link to my fishing channel where you can see how I caught these fish. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. See you on the next one.